Hey, it's T from the X here, and as you know, I just work here. Well, guess what? Now they're making me just work here all of Christmas Day. That's right, holiday cheers and jeers brought to you by me and my big mouth. So join me in between all of your favorite non-Christmas jams and holiday arguments as I extol all wonder and merriment on a joyful Christmas day. I call it Teason's Greetings. See you on the 25th. Hey, it's T from the X with a word on holiday shopping. My approach? Typically, I start December 23rd, so I have plenty of lead time. First stop, Army Surplus Store. Everyone on my list gets a dusty jacket from WW2. And of course, a pair of combat boots from my mother. This year, though, I thought I'd jazz things up and visit my new favorite store, Chad's Factory Recalls, a true island of misfit toys. They've got everything. Jigsaw puzzles with pieces from other puzzles mixed in, wobbly skateboards, odd numbers of socks, something for everybody. So there you go, X Nation. Enjoy these tips for successful shopping. I'm T from the X, and I just work here. Hello, friends, and welcome to Teason's Greetings, a 12-hour Christmas Day extravaganza combining the music you love with the holiday that you secretly all loathe. I am your favorite elf on the shelf, T from the X. We'll start with everyone's favorite holiday topic, candy. I think we can agree that if your candy dates back to the 19th century and has not evolved at all since then, we're dealing with straight-up crap. Ribbon candy, candy canes, garbage. I don't want to participate in any candy that was around before South Dakota was even a state. And the nonpareil? Sure. Let's take a piece of perfectly good chocolate and coat it with little white steel ball bearings. How can I fa-la-la-la-la when I'm spitting out fragments of my own freaking teeth? For my money, it's the old standby, the Werther's Original. Simple, like me. Anyway, more Teason's Greetings to come straight ahead. I'm T from the X, Santa's favorite helper, and I just work here. Welcome back to Teason's Greetings. I am T from the X, and the subject is holiday gift cards. To be sure, gift cards have their critics, and their logic is understandable. It's a cop-out. A gift card gets you off the hook and leaves the decision-making process to the recipient. It's as brilliant as it is lazy. However, gift cards are also universally beloved. But here too lies another holiday pitfall. If the person is looking at something that costs $75 and the gift card you give is worth $35, then you've essentially given a freaking coupon for Christmas. And that, sir or madam, makes you a skinflint. Keep it here on the X for more fire-roasted chestnuts of truth from the mind of T from the X, who, by the way, just works here. Teason's Greetings rages on like a California wildfire, and if I may, a word or two about that person in your life who's horrible to buy gifts for, or rather, for whom it's horrible to buy gifts. You may be wondering, who's that person in my life? Well, it's my life coach, Ramon. This guy's a mess. He works out, he's always dating gorgeous women, and he's got more money than Goldman Sachs. Total loser. So last Christmas, I gave him a chocolate-covered scorpion. He hasn't returned any of my calls since. Impossible to buy for. Anyway, keep it here on the X for more Teason's Greetings. I am T from the X, lighting your way like Rudolph's radioactive nose, and I just work here. Merry Christmas, X Nation, and welcome back to our special 12 hours of holiday hullabaloo known as Teason's Greetings. I am your host, T from the X, and like that cold sore on your lip, I refuse to go away. You may not have noticed, but I've got a mild case of the holiday blues because it's been brought to my attention that this year, Mrs. T from the X is putting up a natural Christmas tree rather than the non-recyclable, bent beyond repair, half-melted from the hot Christmas lights artificial tree that has served as our Yuletide ground zero for many years. I mean, has she no sense of tradition or authenticity? For her many virtues, this is a serious transgression. Let it be known that I will not be vacuuming up any fallen pine needles. You have been placed on notice. I am T from the X, and for now, I'm still married, and I just work here. Christmas Day, a time of splendor, joy, and renewal, not to mention 12 hours of me, T from the X. As much a holiday tradition as your fifth martini before lunch. As you know, I'm a simple man with simple tastes, and that's why I always carve out a little time each year to enjoy my top 3 Christmas movies. What are they? Glad you asked. Number 3, Hot Tub Time Machine. Number 2, Goldfinger. And number 1, Boys in the Hood. What do they all have in common? Well, when I'm watching them and other people walk in, they immediately walk back out again. And that's why I love those films so much. Because the greatest gift on Christmas Day is me time. Keep it here on the X for more Teasins Greetings after a brief word from our sponsors. Teasins Greetings. Getting holly jolly with it on Christmas 2022. I am T from the X, and it's time to separate fact from fancy. Many songs have been written about Santa, but really only one of them even pays any heed whatsoever to the reindeer. And to be completely honest, pays truly undue attention to one, Rudolph. This Johnny-come-lately didn't even rate a mention in the famous poem The Night Before Christmas, and do you want to know why? It's because reindeer do not like outsiders. An organized, unionized outfit like Santa's reindeer is probably not going to take too kindly to some scab coming in and taking the pole position. Not to get too graphic here, but I think Dancer, Prancer, Comet, and Blitzen would still be picking hunks of old Rudolph's fur out of their antlers come New Year's. Just saying. I'm T from the X, and I just work here. Merry Christmas to all, and to all, a good night. This one, of course, made especially merry, owing to the presence of yours truly, T from the X, your shining star atop this Christmas tree that we call life. I have a friend whose birthday is today, that's December 25th, and if you ever want to know what being shortchanged is like, try living with that screw job every year. Most of us get one really good birthday present and at least one really good Christmas present each year. But when your birthday is Christmas, you see the caliber of both presents going down a notch because, well, the investment is double. Also, you don't even get to feel special on your own day because the whole world outside of the Middle East is celebrating a guy who completely subverted the notion of the state-run liquor store by turning water into wine himself, which I'll admit is a hell of a trick. So happy birthday to all you 1225ers out there, and remember, T from the X has your back. More Teasins Greetings on the way. T from the X here with the most special of Christmas specials called Teasins Greetings. 12 hours of homespun wisdom from someone who could have easily been the fourth wise man at the manger if I wasn't too busy and also not yet born. Anywho, can someone illustrate to me why eggnog is so popular? I mean, this is a beverage with the consistency of old wet paint made with raw eggs, sugar, cream, and booze. What, Thanksgiving didn't give you enough calories? It's like someone took a perfectly good White Russian and said, no, this is too tasty. Let's make it unbearably sweet and thicken it to the consistency of cement. While you all continue to glug that slurry down your gullets year after year, let me share with you my eggnog recipe. Take 2 ounces of bourbon, mix it with nothing, and just drink it. Then repeat. T from the X, wishing you Teasins Greetings, and still just working here all day. Dear Santa, as you know, it's time for your annual performance review. And if I'm honest, there's been something of a downward trend. As someone who operates outside the limitations of supply chains and workforce shortages, I must say this Christmas was, to say the least, sparse in terms of gift quality and quantity. So in that category, you're getting a needs improvement. I will recognize that last year I may have exercised poor judgment in leaving you vodka and cigarettes on Christmas Eve, rather than the traditional milk and cookies. But your retaliation was completely out of line. I mean, half the stuff wasn't even wrapped, just thrown onto the floor. So in terms of organization, you're getting a rating of very poor. I hope to see considerable improvement from you next Christmas. Yours truly, T from the X. P.S. I just work here. T from the X, making radio history with a first-of-its-kind Christmas special, a little 12-hour soiree we call Teason's Greetings. Yesterday, my young nephew, Miles, asked me to help him construct a gingerbread house. I, of course, flatly refused, and before he could even begin crying, I explained my position. Gingerbread houses are like Yuletide homeless encampments. The construction is appalling, the architecture even more so. There's so little attention paid to either aesthetic or functional value that the entire project can only be deemed not worth doing. Taking 2 graham crackers and gluing them together with cake frosting is nobody's idea of quality workmanship, and I cannot afford to associate myself with this level of crap. Want to build something with Legos? I'm willing to negotiate terms, but gingerbread houses are a hard pass. Merry Christmas, X Nation. More Teason's Greetings straight ahead. Teason's Greetings, my very fortunate fans. I am T from the X, and I am what Jake from State Farm would be if Jake from State Farm were funny, interesting, and or multidimensional. It's impossible for you to see this or prove it, but I am enjoying an adult beverage while I record these little vignettes, and while it's expressly against station policy to do so, I do not care. I am completely alone in this building, just me and my thoughts, and I believe that if management doesn't actually see me indulging in a cocktail on air, then it didn't really happen. Kind of like that non-call against the New York Giants against the Commanders in the end zone. But it was seen. It did happen. And it cost the Commanders the game. And yet, no consequences ever came. And none shall befall me either, as I am T from the X, a fictitious character who doesn't even watch football. I do, however, just work here. Bottoms up. T from the X here, and if I sound a bit different, it's because, well, I've been sent home. And while I owe no explanations, to you I shall offer one, as you are my people. It seems that my microwavable Yule Log that I picked up from Chad's Factory Recalls was perhaps a bit faulty. I wrapped it tightly in foil as the directions indicated and proceeded to await the splendor of a joyous Christmas day. But lo, it was not to be. There was a little smoke, and yes, admittedly, there was at least one fire engine. But for Hawaiian Chris James to interrupt his Melikaliki Maka just to stomp in and throw me out of the studio, that's beyond the pale. I mean, it's not like it's his building, right? Anyway, Merry Christmas from yours truly, T from the X, and for now, or until the insurance bill comes, I just work here.